next to no
Well, no,
support.
they went. No, he went to go. They went to go rescue the supplies, which was just
Right.
stormtrooper armor that they could have used for their survival and the survival of I forget the captain's name, but the clone captain, his men could have used that gear to survive.
Right.
And it's just like, man, what a.
And when they didn't bring it back, they got reprimanded, but then the dude almost died. And then he did die.
He did die. Yeah. Yep.
It's a very, dude, anything to do with clones too, because they are humans, but they're just looked at as less than human.
Yeah.
It's tough. Great question there, Iro. And then last question from Iro for this pod is something that I've been wanting to answer this for a while, but it keeps slipping away. But here we go. For a long while, I've had a lingering question in my mind about Luke post Return of the Jedi. Should his Jedi Order have a no-kill rule? Vader, being his father, absolutely was a driving factor for his reluctance to kill him, but Luke is very adamant that there is good in him. If Star Wars truly preaches that everyone is capable of great, good, and great evil, then how is it just to not treat everyone with equal compassion? So I guess question number one, should Luke's Jedi Order have a no-kill rule?
I mean, you know my answer to this. You'll probably be able to give more of an elaborate answer.
Van Seal thinks that it should not have a no-kill rule.
That's not what I think.
That's what I thought you thought.
It's pretty simple. It's literally I think when somebody or something in Star Wars forfeits its right to life by either threatening someone else's life or taking someone else's life, they are by default forfeiting their right to life. Pretty simple.
I agree. And I think
you kill to save.
Facts.
Simple.
And I think that's
you don't
pretty
do
much
it. You don't do it just to do it. You do it to save.
Right. And I'm touching on this in my book as well. And my Luke Skywalker's philosophy is pretty much right up that alley. A Jedi's life is to... A Jedi's purpose, a Jedi's job is to protect life, not take it. Luke especially, I think he's very adamant that anybody can turn from great evil. But like Banjeel said, if you're trying to kill someone, you forfeit your right. And I think that's pretty true. That's pretty firm. I think Luke will do everything in his power not to. But if he senses or if he feels that you are about to kill somebody or you are going to kill somebody, he will take action.
Like he does in episode 8.
Like he does in episode 8.
So silly.
When Luke senses that Ben is going to kill Han. For a split second there, he's like, all right, time to bring in the sheriff.
Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Ben's not going to pay his Jedi dues next month. Taking him out.
Time to bring in the sheriff. Time to bring in the Sandman from the freaking bullpen.
Yep.
I agree. I'm with you. I think it should be a very strict no-kill rule.
It should be, but I don't think that's what it's going to be, just because Luke is Luke.
Luke is a lot different. Luke is a lot different once he has some years on him. The crazy thing is, man, we meet Luke when he's 19. Double that age and then add some, and that's the Luke that I'm writing, you know, so.
I thought Luke was 17 in A New Hope. Oh.
He was a super senior.
Damn, he's still whining?
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I think it's 19, 21, and then 22.
Okay.
Are his ages.
Yeah.
Great question, though. Vader, being his father, absolutely was a driving factor for his reluctance to kill him. But Luke is very adamant that there is good in him. if Star Wars truly preaches that everyone is capable of great good and great evil, then how is it just to not treat everyone with equal compassion? I think that the big factor there is love. Like, you're not just talking about Ricky from down the street, you're talking about his literal father. And with love comes greater feeling and greater emotion. And that's something that Luke preaches to his students, not just in my book, but in Legends and in the EU. Like, he wants his students to love and marry and have children, because you won't know greater strength in your own power unless you've really experienced the greatest power in the world, which is love. So if he had the most compassion in the world for Vader, it's because he loved him. It was his dad. But those pirates on Jabba's barge, he didn't give a fuck about them. He wasn't.
You say every time I hear Jabba's barge, man, I don't know why that just sounds so funny.
We're thinking about his
Jabba's
You're thinking about his
barge,
bulge,
big
dog.
barge. Jabba's barge.
You're disgusting. Disgusting. Anything to touch on that, Van Seal? I know you're not.
I don't want to touch Jabba's barge. No, I'm good.
All right, now it is time for our molten hot takes, which we are going to take into general grievances. So this is basically a therapy session for you, Van Seal. You can talk about
Oh boy.
anything to do with Star Wars, anything to do with cinema, video games, just what has been bothering you recently. What have you been hanging on to for a while? What's going on, bud?
I don't know, just waiting for Star Wars to be Star Wars again, right? Like,
To
there's not
you,
much-
what does Star Wars feel like?
Mando season 1, Mando season 2, great. Andor season 1. I don't get the show, but it did feel Star Wars enough for me, so I'll throw it in the bag there. You know what I mean? Book of Boba. I don't know, man. It's Book of Boba, but it's just like, what is happening? What are they doing? I do sense there's a change in the winds. You know, like things are starting to get better, not just Star Wars, but like other IPs too. But like, we're still getting projects this year, next year that got started like 4 or 5 years ago. So they're still not going to be like great.
No, I think when something goes through 4 or 5 years of development, it's probably ass.
Yeah, and you know, there was an article that I don't remember which publication put it out, but I thought the headline was so clever and so funny. It was they're talking about Star Wars, or Disney needs to stop announcing Star Wars movies and just make one, because they have announced so many movies over the last 5 years, and we haven't gotten one. We haven't gotten a single one, and it's just like, I just don't understand why it's taking so long. And I get it, things just, you know, take time to cook, but unfortunately when you're waiting 2-3 hours for your food and it's not even your food when you get it, you're a little pissed off. You know. Skeleton Crew, I think, is an okay, as a Star Wars fan, the show is okay, it's very safe. But as a Star Wars fan that's been annoyed with everything that's been coming out recently, I actually like the show. I like the show because it's different. It has no connection to anything that's come out recently. And it's just set in the Star Wars universe, which I don't understand. I know, you know, we're halfway through the show right now. Episode 5 comes out in a couple days. I know for a fact, episode 7, episode 8 of Skeleton Crew, somebody's going to show up, and it's going to connect everything together. And now I'm going to have and then you're going to have a different filter or lens looking, you know, rewatching the show. I don't know why they can't just do shows in the Star Wars universe that have nothing to do with anything.
They are.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like like I feel like everything has to have the Marvel Cinematic Universe treatment. Everything has to be like connected to just like this spider web that just goes on for infinity. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and I was thinking that today. Like, I think that they are just taking the MCU as a huge example and
Yeah.
just doing their own thing with the
Yeah.
Mandalorian cinematic universe, the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like you know, I would love to have just like a pod racing show involving, you know,
How do we get
the
Rey in it?
criminals. Exactly. How do we get a Jedi in it? It's like, dude, like I get it. Jedi are cool, but it's like there's so many of them now. Like they used to be this rare thing, right? And it's like I feel like every other character in a Star Wars show is a Jedi all of a sudden. It's just like, okay, they're not as special anymore, and they're always put on this pedestal, which is why I'm always turned off of just new Jedi being introduced because I'm just like, okay, you're just another one. I don't know why we can't get a pod racing show. I think that'd be really cool. I think pod racing is super, super interesting. I thought the game was amazing when it came out. But just
Someone
a pod
is
racing
remaking
show,
the game in Unreal Engine.
I've seen that, yeah. I'll probably play it when it comes out. But like something like that, something where it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be super criminal underworld, but just something entertaining. It doesn't have to be like,
Do you think that's why the Bad Batch spoke to you?
well, the Bad Batch spoke to me because I liked the idea.